How are you doing tonight? Everybody having a good time? ArtFusion? Thank you. Thank you for coming out, being part of this, being part of local art in St. Louis, being part of our community. It means a lot. It goes a long way representing St. Louis. And our next special artist of this evening speaking is Kimberlyn Renee. Let's give her a big, nice warm welcome.
You guys hear me better? Barely?
That's better. The closer, yeah, go closer to the mic.
Shorter than Paul. So, there we go. So first off, I just want to thank Davide, ArtFusion, Abstract Marketing for having me and so many other amazing local artists here. We have Paul Schmidt up here before me. Yeah. And then up next are going to be Mark Witzling and Michael Schneider of Pulliver, so make sure you guys stick around for them. So, also thank you guys for being here. None of this would be possible without the support from the community, so I really appreciate it. I know everybody else does too. So, hi, my name is Kimberlyn Renee. I am a surrealist pop artist. I work mostly in acrylic paint. A lot of my work focuses heavily on themes of childhood nostalgia, pop culture from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and also includes a lot of themes about female empowerment. I'm fairly new to this whole thing. I showed my work in a gallery for the first time in 2023. I have no fine art training or background other than a couple high school art classes. I'm pretty much completely self-taught. And I had like a good 20 minutes of stuff to talk about up here, but I doubt you guys have the attention span for that. I know I don't. So
Yes, we do.
well, we'll see. You might not be saying that at the end, but if it's cool with you guys, I think I'll kind of skip the appetizer and go straight to the main course and kind of jump straight into what I wanted to talk about. So yeah, one of the most important recurring themes in my work is female empowerment, or just shining a light on the female experience in general. Davide said this is a show of love, anything you love about your work, which brings me to my current obsession, which is my favorite ongoing series of Judy. For those of you who don't know, Judy is my muse, my Mona Lisa, my Marilyn Monroe, and Judy is a life-size blow-up doll. And Judy was one of those ideas that had kind of lived in my head for so long that I don't really know where the initial inspiration for her came from. I think it had something to do with, there's this video from the 90s of one of my favorite writers, Hunter S. Thompson, driving around Sunset Boulevard in this convertible with John Cusack and Johnny Depp and a blow-up doll. And the story goes that somebody had called the police on three men savagely beating this woman on Sunset. And when the officer arrived and saw what the situation really was and asked why on earth they were abusing this poor doll, allegedly Hunter Thompson was quoted as saying, "It's this strumpet's birthday, and we've taken her to all her favorite old haunts, but she's been nothing but ungrateful." Which, I find wildly hilarious, but then, if you kind of look at how at least two of those men interacted with real women and, take into account all the stuff coming out about men in Hollywood, it does give you a little pause, gives you something to think about, which perfectly mirrors a lot of my art, funny and lighthearted on the surface, but if you stop and look long enough, you start to see something a little bit more real, a little bit heavier. So my first Judy painting, or paintings here, I did for Sin City Gallery in Las Vegas, their annual 12 Inches of Sin catalog. And I spent hours online searching for the perfect reference photo. And I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. So finally I said, screw it, hopped on Amazon, and $20 and a couple days later, Judy was sitting on my doorstep. And And yeah, I got my reference photos of her, and then after that she sat patiently watching as I painted her. Sometimes her silence felt like stony criticism, other times it felt like quiet encouragement. And through that process, Judy quickly transformed for me into something so much more than just my silly little muse. This set here, lip service, eye candy, and selective hearing, it's a critique of the absurd and contradictory standards placed on women and their sexuality. It really attempts to showcase just how ludicrous these inflated expectations are. And if it's okay, I'd like to read some excerpts from Dr. Laura Hinkle, the curator of 12 Inches of Sin, her write-up about this piece, because she really put so beautifully into words what I was trying to say with them. It's not too long, I promise. So, rendered in high voltage pop color, the work initially appears playful, yet beneath that buoyant surface unfolds a precise critique of how visibility, sexuality, and control continue to shape the female body. Judy served as one of America's first mass-market feminized proxies. Once considered obscene, the blow doll later became a cultural gag. What was once forbidden became humorous. This does not signal freedom so much as reabsorption. Obscenity dissolves not through justice, but through neutralization. Judy becomes acceptable only after she becomes unserious. In that shift, sexualized femininity does not disappear. It's converted into function, stripped of agency. Skin is no longer a violation, but an expectation shaped by cultural demand. Control has shifted from restriction to saturation, and female sexuality is permitted only when it no longer disrupts the system that regulates it. Women remain bound to a visual economy that governs work through availability, desirability, and performance. The mechanism has evolved, the hierarchy is not. I'm not done yet. You're not allowed to cry yet. Judy becomes a symbol of manufactured womanhood, hollow, inflatable, compliant, replaceable. She embodies the paradox of womanhood. Be pure, yet available, moral, yet sexual, sacred, but disposable. But this triptych does not shout its warnings. It disarms with fluorescence, absurdity, and charm. Laughter opens the door through which critique quietly enters. Whimsy becomes not distraction, but strategy, a tool of interrogation rather than retreat. This piece exposes the script precisely so it can be revised. Power can still be reclaimed, imagination can still interrupt, and even the most hollow icon, once it is illuminated by critical consciousness, can be transformed from instrument of compliance and amusement to a site of resistance. And that really summed up what I'm trying to do and say, not just with this triptych, but with the Judy series as a whole. After I finished the initial 3 pieces, Judy spent a while living in my art studio, and I couldn't shake the feeling that our work together wasn't done yet. So I painted another Judy, and another, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. What started out as a whimsical critique quickly transformed Judy, for me, into something more than just a caricature of performative femininity. The way I viewed her, thought about her, talked about her, made me realize that she'd become so important to me as a symbol of the reclamation of womanhood and power. And Judy was no longer an object, but something a little more human, or perhaps even superhuman. And it wasn't until very recently that I realized just how attached I had become to Judy and how closely I tied her to not just my identity as an artist, but as a woman. A friend had FaceTimed me from Art Basel in Miami and said, I gotta show you this, like you need to see this. And it was a painting of Judy, but it wasn't just a painting of Judy, it was a painting of Judy in this sort of ragdoll position on the ground in all this leather bondage gear with these like naked male forms sort of looming menacingly in the background. And the cherry on top was that the title of this piece was Damaged Goods. And yeah, so damaged goods. After the initial frustration and heartbreak at the realization that I was not the only person painting Judy, I remember being filled with so much righteous anger that how dare this person disrespect Judy like that. This was a desecration. And this artist probably has no idea I exist, but to me it felt so personal that I had finally found my Campbell's soup can, and here's this artist coming along and throwing it on the ground and stomping on it. Or more accurately, I guess, putting it in bondage here and putting male genitalia in its face. But it was, given the meaning of my original triptych, it was wrapped in such a sick irony that here was this man, it was a male artist, this man around the same age as me, doing the same thing, and somehow getting what felt like so much further with it than me. And I spent weeks after that feeling so deflated, excuse the pun, and questioning if I should just abandon Judy altogether. And at one point I asked one of my friends, another artist, what she thought I should do. And ever one of the most eloquent and insightful people I know, Jackie, after seeing the Damaged Goods painting, said, well, yeah, he made Judy, but you made Judy pretty. He is objectifying, you are exalting, you're humanizing. And that really stuck with me. It made me more determined than ever to double down and not just make Judy into more paintings, but make Judy into an icon, a beacon of hope and inspiration to other women. The subject of my paintings and this other artist is the same, but the inherent meaning is wildly different. And it made me realize that Judy is important, and it's important that I keep painting her. Because, and I don't want to pretend like, at least for now, being a woman in 2026 is as treacherous or filled with hardships as it has been in the past. I know that by comparison I have it good, great even. But that being said, the devil is in the details. The inequalities I and many other women experience in the day-to-day are not violent, they're not overt, they're subtle, they're easy to write off. But if you accept small chains, you'll never find the key. These small transgressions are easy to brush off one by one, but they stick with you, and they chip away at your armor over time. For example, like in the art world, I see little differences in how I and other female artists are treated, talked to, viewed, paid even, in comparison to our male counterparts. And, you know, I kind of vent these frustrations into my Judy paintings, and I hope with that I can be able to tell people that, yes, I am a woman, I may be young and inexperienced, but I am just as serious, I'm just as hardworking, just as talented, and just as deserving of respect as I would be if I was a man. And I hope that Judy can instill that belief in other women as well. You know, I was a little worried. Initially, I remember working on this triptych and asking Tim, my partner, like, honey, do you think people are going to get this? Or, like, do you think people are going to like these? And he paused and said very emphatically, yeah, perverts. And that was my fear, you know, that I was drastically missing the mark somehow with these. But in showing Judy around, something amazing happened with the response from people, because it was almost entirely women that seemed drawn to her. And that kind of solidified for me that, yes, this is something good I'm doing. People are embracing the meaning behind her and not just taking Judy at face value. So, in conclusion, I hope to use my Judy paintings to inspire women to not be afraid to take up space, to have the audacity to ask for the things you deserve or even the things you don't. to question expectations and tradition, to reject harmful labels and impossible ideals. I'm so appreciative of the women who came before and paved the way for someone like me to enjoy the freedoms I do today. And I want to do my part to continue to make the world a better place for future generations of women, even if that part just means painting pictures of blow-up dolls. So. And then, yeah, I'm happy to open it up for any questions you guys have, but that's about all I got for you.
You got a dumb question.
Yeah.
Did you do the makeup? Or was
She
it
comes
did
so-
she come silkscreen with makeup on?
She comes and yeah, trust me, I did a lot of deep dives on blow dolls. She seems to be the most, well, in my opinion, I'm biased, but she's the prettiest, I think, but she's kind of the most recognizable, so she does come with that makeup. And after initially buying the first Judy that lives with me forever now, I did buy 2 more, and it is funny. The makeup is sometimes a little wonky, but the first one I got, her makeup was spot on, so I got lucky with that one.
She comes off to me as very open, a little naive, a little just sweet. And so, did you put that in there too? In other words, or did it just kind of come up as you were reading?
I don't know if it came up intentionally, but that's definitely, I do like that it seems like people read her that way because it's kind of defying, her initial purpose, I guess, to be this sort of like sexual being. Like instead it feels very like innocent and sweet.
What am I talking about now?
That's the magic of Judy. She becomes very human to you. It's weird. Anybody else?
That's nice. Tim's a lineal thinker. So he like thinks creatively.
He is very, but he is not an art person. He loves my art, and that is all I can ask of him.
That answer made perfect sense.
So you've said that you put a lot of different types of nostalgia and other things in there, and you've explained why you landed on Judy. One, I'd like to know how you came up with her name, and then 2, I'd like to just kind of like with the balloons and different things, like how do you kind of choose what message you want to say through those? You're just
So-
what kind of inspires that?
With the first one, I actually didn't name her Judy. That is her name. Yes. There are a couple other, like, and she's not really like trademark as far as I can find, but in different packaging it will have different names. But Judy is the most like used name, I guess, which just ended up sticking really well. And then the second question. So she does kind of tie in with not necessarily childhood nostalgia, but nostalgia because it's a very like iconic symbol. But as far as like coming up with different imagery, well, now a lot of times people will just come up to me and be like, I have this great idea for Judy, and usually it is a great idea. So I have a running list of different Judy ideas, and then usually I kind of build on that and see like, okay, what can I incorporate with this? Like I already have, the cool, funny imagery, but what can I make this say to people? So with the balloons, that was just kind of an easy one because, they kind of perfectly mimic this inflatable blow-up doll, but I do like to just kind of overwhelm with a lot of color and fun imagery, and then have people just take from it what they will. I think I rambled there. I don't know if that answered your question.
How many Judy paintings do you have so far?
So currently I have 6. So yeah, I have 5 here. I have Judy at the Macy's Day Parade sitting at home. And then I like I said, I have a running list of ones, but the one hanging on the wall over there, which is titled Cupid's Folly, that is my most recent Judy that I completed a little less than a month ago. So. Yeah, that's a good question. I do have some that I am going to give her clothes with, but a lot of times I kind of get a satisfaction out of just that kind of shiny plastic look, so I just have a lot of fun, I guess, painting her naked, which I don't know what that says about me, but. Well, if that's it, I'll hand it back over to Dr. Davis.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing, Kimberly. Before we depart here, and the next speaker will be coming up in about a half hour, I just would like to speak really quickly about your support in ArtFusion in the community is going even further, and now supporting what is going to be launched next month in March is the St. Louis Artist of the Month. And this is a very important program for our community. There's never been anything like it. We're going to be opening up to all